Good afternoon all of you. Today in this video we are going to discuss about a silent feature of the Indian society. Yeah. This topic which I'm going to discuss about the silent feature of Indian society. The silent feature of the Indian society is now let us see what is this all about. Covering a span of almost 5,000 years since the existence of its first civilization, the Indian society is extremely old and complex in nature. It is primarily characterized by the existence of varying caste, faith, ethnicity, communities, tribal identity, etc., which together produce a unique culture prevalent not only in India but almost across the entire Indian subcontinent. Traditionally, a social relation were based on caste, ethnic groups, race, etc., with extended family and a village community, and caste system being three primarily societal structures. However, there are a great contrast between traditional India and the modern high-tech westernized India. In the earlier day, India society was dominated by a large number of poor people with a small elite characterized by a flamboyant Maharajas and the middle class made up largely of civil servants. Though these classes largely exist today, except the middle class, which is more diverse and larger, and the small elite comprising of industrialists and high-tech entrepreneurs as well as a large land owners. Now we have understand this about the introduction for this silent feature of the Indian society, that is we covering the span of almost 5,000 year ago when it is existed the first civilizations. Which is like extremely complex in nature. By looking into this, what I have given you the introduction for this, that traditionally a social relation were often based on a caste, ethnic groups, race and etc., with extended family, villages, community and caste system being they are primarily a societal structures. So, and now we will see the what we say Now we will look into the impact of the colonial rules. Now we will see the impact of the colonials rule on an Indian society. Colonial rule on Indian society. Now we will see the impact of the colonial rule on an Indian society. By looking into this, what we find that India was unified for the first time by a colonial rules, bringing in the force of a modernization and capitalist economic range by and large, and changes brought about were irreversible. The society could never return to the way things were before. Excuse me. Yeah, we will start now. See, where we were. By and large, change brought about irreversible. The society could never return to the way things were before. The economic and political and administrative unification of India under colonial rule was achieved at a great expense. Colonial exploitation and domination scared Indian society in many ways, but paradoxically, colonialism also gave a birth to its own enemy, that is, nationalism. Historically, Indian nationalism took shape under a British colonialism. The shared experience of a colonial domination helped unify and energize a different section of the society. The emerging a middle class began with the aid of Western style education to challenge a colonialism on its own ground. Ironically, a colonialism and Western education also gave impetus to the rediscovery of a tradition. This led to the developments on the cultural and a social front, which solidified the emerging forms of a community at the national and regional levels. Colonialism created a new classes and communities which came to play a significant role in the subsequent history. The urban middle classes were the main carriers of a nationalism, and they led the campaign for a freedom. Colonial interventions also crystallized a religious and caste-based communities. Now we will see about a salient feature of a Hindu society. I will write this topic in the whiteboard so that you people will come to know about it. What was the topic? The next topic, the salient feature of the Hindu society. The salient features of Hindu society. Yeah, we will look into this topic. The salient features of a Hindu society. The most important features, most important features of an Indian society are a caste, tribe, family, kingship, religion, village, etc. These features give our society a unique identity. Caste. The caste system in India is an important part of the ancient Hindu tradition and dates back to 1200 BCE. Although the scripture and an ancient social code mention what it should be rather than what it is, the ground reality is, however, different. The term caste is derived from a Portuguese word casta, meaning breed, race, or a group. Basically, a caste refers to a people belonging to the same breed. An individual is born into a caste and this status is usually permanent, though the element of a caste are found outside India as well. It is only in India that such numerous castes are found. Segmental division of society. Society is divided into a several small social groups called castes. One will belong to which caste is decided on the basis of their birth into a particular caste. Each caste has its own traditional social status, occupation, customs, rule, regulation. It has its own governing body called the caste council or a jati panchayat, which enforces the caste rules. Above all, members of a caste are bound together by a mutual obligation of health and cooperation in their day-to-day life. Since one caste is decided at the time of their birth, therefore mobility from one caste to another is almost impossible. Some important characteristics of the caste system are as follows. Hierarchy. There is a hierarchical arrangement of a caste according to a different degree of a dominance and subordination. It's implied that there are some castes which are considered superior to the other. Since the caste is decided on the basis of birth, it is more or less fixed. The Brahmins in India are placed on the apex of the social ladder, followed by the Kshatriyas and Vaisyas. At the bottom of the ladder are the Sudras. There is another point is restriction on interaction. The number of a one caste cannot mix or move freely with a member of the other caste. Every caste abide by well-established custom and well-defined norm of interactions. Social and religious disabilities. The caste system is an important feature of a Hindu society. However, with a lapse of time, the rigidities of a caste have largely diluted. In the Hindu caste system, the Brahmin are the most privileged caste and the Sudras are the bottom of the hierarchy. Apart from Sudras, there are also people who were called untouchable, who are outside the caste system and are considered to be a ritually impure. Earlier, people belonging to this category were kept entirely outcast to the extent that they were not allowed to dwell in the cities or purchase a property in the localities inhabited by the higher caste people, or use a village well and pond used by the higher castes. They were not allowed to go to the temples and worship there or read a religious book, etc. But since these discriminatory features have been outlawed by a various government legislation. The situation on the ground has improved a lot. The Constitution of India prohibits inequalities and discrimination based upon a caste, color, creed, and religion, race, sex, place of a birth, and a similar factor. Untouchability is a crime and is outlawed as per the Article 17 of the Constitution. Equal citizenship and equal right and equal opportunity for development have been granted to all persons. Also, a special protection has been given to the person belonging to the scheduled caste and a scheduled tribes. This has been done to secure a social equality in an Indian society. Imposition of a restriction on commensality. Caste also determine the eating habit of a people belonging to that caste. Generally, there are no restriction on a fruit, milk, butter, dry fruit, etc. But there are some restriction regarding unfried food. Unfried food has been divided into two classes, pakka and kacha. The division is based on the use of a ghee with or without water. If in the preparation of a food only ghee is used and no water is used, it's called a pakka type of food. On the other hand, a kacha food is prepared with the use of a water. The kacha food can be accepted only from a person of one's own caste or a higher caste. Ideology of a purity and pollutions. Caste system is largely associated with the ideology of purity and pollutions. The higher caste are believed to be a pure and a lower caste people impure. Restrictions on occupation. A Hindu religious text determined the occupation of all varnas. One birth into a particular caste determined his occupation during his lifetime, and the person was required to follow own caste profession. For instance, only a son of Pandit or Brahmin could perform the function of Pandit and Brahmin. Martial restrictions. The member of a caste can marry only within their own caste. This is known as a caste endogamy. Intercaste marriage is strictly prohibited. Hereditary status. The birth of a person in a particular caste decide his caste and status in the society. It is usually difficult to change one's own caste despite the accusations of a qualifications or disqualification. Hence, the membership of a particular caste continue and does not undergo any changes. Now we will see the function of the castes. Determines the social status. By being born in the particular caste, the person gets the tradition status of that caste in the society. Thus, a caste gives the individual a psychological security as far as his position in the society is concerned. Provide a social security. Caste offers social security to the individual from his birth to death. It's provide him an occupation, welfare activities. Preserve culture. Every society must be able to pass on its pattern of a skill, knowledge, and behavior. In short, its culture from one generation to the next, if it is to survive as a distinct social system. Caste system perform his function very well. Integrate a society. Caste system has acted as an effective means of integrating the diverse racial, religious, national, and ethnic groups into a vast, variegated communities. The caste system is capable of incorporating groups, be it racial, religious, national, or occupational, in such a way that it becomes a part of a social whole and yet retain its own distinctive character and identity. Establishes stability in society. Caste system has also been responsible for the stability in the society. It saved a society from being disrupted under the pressure of an alien invasion, famines, and upheavals of all kinds in a long history. Brings political stability in society. The caste system acted as a political stabilizer in the sense that despite a several change, a political upheavals, no significant influences could be exerted on the society, and even a cultural pattern was preserved irrespective of the changing a political setup. Another reason for a political stability was the fact that there was no motive on the part of a ruled to seek an alternative. Serves as a device for a division of a labor. Caste system has acted as a unique system of a division of a labor in the Hindu society, but this division is due to the belief in a karma, which makes the apparent equitable division of a labor acceptable to the people. It is believed that a present position and occupation of a person in the society are a consequence of his action in his previous lives, and that if he perform his caste duties faithfully in this present life, he will have a better position in his next life. Develop the spirit of cooperations. The members of each caste develop a sense, a unity in their own caste group, the feeling that any invasion by other castes on their superiority or any attempt at degrading their custom, ritual, tradition, etc. will be disastrous for the caste, urged them to work in a close cooperation with one another. In this manner, the caste developed a sense and a spirit of cooperation, and this provided the infrastructures for the advancement and betterment of the society. Generated the panchayat system. Under the caste system, each caste had its own panchayats, and disputes arising among the members of a particular caste were decided by a caste panchayat. In a course of time, this system became a very stable and contributed to the evolution of the panchayat system. Even today, this panchayat system is accepted as the ideal system in the Indian due to its agrarian and rural structures. Thank you so much. We will now we finished this the caste system, the silent feature of a Hindu society, caste and segmental division of the society, and we have discussed the every point and also the function of the caste. We have done with a point wise, and the impact of the colonial rule on a Indian society we have also done. So thank you so much for listening this topic on a silent feature of the Indian society. Okay. Thank you.